All right, we are live. Welcome here. We are so excited to come together tonight and share with you our migraine journeys. I think this is very exciting to group us together and bring you this. So, welcome. And obviously, this is not views of Plexus. This is just our own personal stories and experiences. So, we want you to know that right away. And I will ask Laura to go first and share her journey with us.
Hello, my name is Laura Clausen and I live in Abbotsford, BC. I have been struggling with chronic headaches from the time I was about 10 years old. They hadn't yet developed into migraines, but I distinctly remember telling my mom and dad, like holding my head and saying, like, my head hurt. And they didn't understand why. And so that began a long journey of trying to figure out why I was having these headaches at such a young age. I had a lot of tests done, all the brain scans. Oh, goodness, so many tests, and they could never find anything out. And then as I got older, I started realizing that this was progressing from chronic headaches to more of a migraine type of reaction. And I started having triggers for, oh goodness, pretty much everything. I never knew when one was coming, but basically every afternoon around 2 p.m. is when I would start to feel one coming on, a headache. And then it would sometimes morph into a full-on migraine. Sometimes I could ward it off. I remember having to have my mom come and take care of my boys many times, picking them up from school because I wasn't able to, canceling on like family functions. I just wasn't being able to do things that I really wanted to do. Like my boys were involved in volleyball, and it's very loud in those gyms with the whistles and the crowd noise. And I, by the end of the day, would just be in complete agony. I never, like, whenever the wind would blow here in BC, we would sometimes get, not like you guys get in the prairies, but we would get some windstorms, and I could tell when it was coming because I would start to feel it coming. I started reacting to foods with migraines, like Chinese food, any kind of soy sauce, teriyaki, like salad dressings. There was just becoming more and more things that I was reacting to. And it was really debilitating. I was taking so much Advil and Tylenol a day, and which is not good for you. And I tried essential oils. I tried the elimination diets. I tried everything. And my mother-in-law actually said, "You need to try this Plexus, this gut health system." And I was like, "You've got to be kidding. There can't, this isn't going to help me. I've tried everything else." And I was desperate enough one night. I said to my husband, I think I was probably not even 40 at the time. Maybe I was 40. And I said, "I can't live like this anymore. If this is how it is now, I can't imagine being a senior. Like, that's just, I couldn't imagine that because I was chronically in bed. I was grumpy because I felt sick most of the time, short with my kids. Like, when your head is pounding, you just don't have the energy and the patience to deal with life, right? So I reluctantly tried Plexus, and I have to tell you, it literally changed my life. And I wish that I wouldn't have put her off 8 months prior, because it took about a full 3 months, but in those 3 months, I gradually started to see a reduction in headaches. And by the time I started my fourth month, I had none. And I haven't had a migraine in 3.5 years. For me, I was averaging over about 100 a year. They had given me migraine meds that I was only allowed 6 a month. And I panicked at that because I had way more than 6. And so I had to measure out my days. can I try and get without this today, or am I going to need it tomorrow? Because it was just that bad. So yes, to say that this has changed my life is just a complete understatement. I'm free from all of those triggers now. And I just love that I don't even have Tylenol and Advil in my house. Like, I couldn't even go on vacation without having to bring multiple bottles with me of special pills to deal with it. So yeah, it's changed a lot for our family.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, love Laura's story. It's amazing. Mine would be very similar. I don't think any two migraine stories are the same, right? Same beast, but different way it shows up in our lives. My migraine started when I was 15, and I can recall being the kid who had headaches, even when I think back younger. But I thought that was normal, right? Like, I don't know, you live with it and you get used to it. But my official migraine started when I was 15, and progressed. And like, to get through my graduation, I had to go to the emergency room twice just in that one day to get through a special event. And when I went to Bible school, one of the months there, I had to be driven to the emergency room 10 times. And that was just normal in my life. But I remember keeping count when I was at Bible school, because I was an inconvenience. I was a burden, is how I felt. And so I was very much noticing how often this was happening. I didn't realize then the triggers, and I lived with girls, so there was perfumes, hairsprays, deodorants, like different shampoos, different laundry detergent, all triggers, not sleeping well, not eating well. And so that was like the hot spot for migraines. But um yeah, there was just a lot of that in my life. It was like a third person in my marriage and family. Like, it was just something we had to always think of and always plan for. And we'd make plans. But what if Carrie would have a headache? And it just so huge in your life, right? And there was specialists involved. There was naturopaths involved. There was hormone therapy involved for me. The doctor at one point, suggested I chop my hair off because it was too heavy. And I thought, well, why not? If that's the solution, then I'll have short hair. Obviously not. I got glasses. I tried anything and everything that was suggested to me, and it was miserable. I was not living. I was barely surviving. And so going forward and starting to hear about plexus and gut health, because 22 years of migraine suffering and trying and attempting to find ways to get through it and to live life and to be a mom, because somehow in all that I managed to get married and have 3 kids that I couldn't care for as well as I had wanted to, right? You try it all and you hope. And the auras that I would get would be like, I lose my peripheral vision and it goes black. And I know any migraine people have their trigger signs and signals of what they know is coming. And I would do weird things like drink salt in my coffee and just try. There's so many weird things I did to try to function, because I didn't want to be a mom that was hugging the toilet for 3 days when I had 3 young children who needed a mother and a husband who needed to go out and work and make money to feed these mouths. So you just get so desperate. And so when I started hearing gut health in 22 years of all of that, in all the mess of trying and being disappointed, um, gut health was never, ever, ever mentioned. Like, that was just ludicrous. What does that have to do with my headaches? Because every day I had a headache, a daily headache. And then sometimes I had a migraine. That was just like, how bad is the headache today? There was no like yes or no. It was more like a scale of how bad. That was my life. And so, yeah, it's just been very interesting to me, very fascinating to study the body and gut health and all these connections, and see it work, right? Like, you could tell me it works, but doing it firsthand and knowing that there's actually a better way for me has been just so freeing. So freeing. So I find it very interesting how different all three of our stories are. And I've been with Plexus for 3.5 years. I can't claim migraine free as I would like to, because I'm still detoxing, going through layers of healing. but I have the tools I need to get through that. And I know what I'm dealing with now, right? So the migraines I had, like this pales in comparison. It's once in a blue moon, and it's kind of foreign, and I don't even know how to be sick anymore because I feel so much better. Like it's the weirdest, most wonderful thing ever. But yeah, but Leanne's story is very fascinating because she's newer with us. So I'm excited to hear what she's seen in her time already. So go ahead, Leanne.
Well, my story starts a little bit later in life than either of yours. And I would say that it didn't start specifically with migraines. I started more with stomach issues, which I have IBS. And so it started with that and different periods of stress. It would be so much worse and get very aggravated. It's very uncomfortable, which for me, things just kind of snowballed. So then I moved into having really bad acne that was scarring my face. And with all of this, I got tested for celiac. And my blood work was a bit elevated. They did a scope, said, oh, by the way, you also have a bunch of acid reflux and you have scar tissue. So I'm like, oh, thank you. Another one on the list. And I didn't have celiac, but they said the biopsy wasn't normal either. So kind of left me at a place of, oh, I don't know what to do with that. And then after that, I started having definitely deal with anxiety as well. And so I remember one day going out to eat with my husband and our kids and another couple that we're good friends with, and it shouldn't be a big deal. And partway through, I just couldn't handle it because people who have IBS and anxiety know that the two just like really feed off of each other and they just snowball. And once that starts rolling down the hill, you're kind of hooped. And so I left him at the restaurant and said, they can drive you home. And I then went, this I think might be a problem. And so I talked with my doctor. I started medication for anxiety then, which actually I was already experiencing migraines then. That kind of progressed. It was, that progressed into migraines. And then she was hoping that the medication for anxiety would also help the migraines, which it didn't, but it actually really helped quite a bit for the IBS and anxiety, kind of calmed those a little bit, but the migraines just took over. And then that just became the daily thing. This last January, I saw a neurologist and he did blood work. He gave me vitamins to take, which I tried, and with IBS, they just flew right through me. That didn't work. I did the migraine diet. I eliminated foods for a couple months. No change. And the blood work, some levels came back elevated for lupus. And so he sent me to a rheumatologist. And I still haven't actually physically seen the rheumatologist because of COVID. So I'm still kind of trying to wade through that process. And so this brings us to August of this year. And I'll give you some stats of my migraines because this kind of shows you where I'm at. So in June, I had 18 days of medicated days of migraines. Every day I was having symptoms. And I got prescribed triptan tablets, which is common for migraine treatment. I took 32 triptan tablets that month. July, I had 15 medicated days and took 38 triptan tablets. August, I had 22 migraine days where I took medication, and I took 44 triptan tablets that month. And so it was a bad month. It was a really bad month. And I resonate with what Laura said. I'm 40 going, what happens when I'm 50? What happens when I'm 60? Like, I'm in trouble. And so I just thought, like, I was just kind of at the bottom. I didn't know where to go from there. And I'd seen Carrie's post. So I met Carrie in Bible school. So I remember her from those days of migraines. And I remember that look in her eyes. And anybody who's had migraines, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I looked in the mirror and saw the same eyes in me. And I saw her posting about Plexus. I'm like, okay, totally skeptical, such a jerk. I told her that. And I said, I'll try it because I'm desperate and just whatever. We're just doing it now because I'm going to change my mind. And she said, give it 3 months. And I'm like, I'll give it 60 days. 60-day money back guarantee. So in September, I didn't see any difference in my migraines really. But I did have days of feeling more energetic, which was nice because I didn't have many days like that before. And then come October, I only had 7 medicated migraine days, which was like, I was over the moon, so happy. And November hasn't been as great, as Carrie was kind of talking about the layers and stuff, like definitely hit some of those layers and, you know, maybe had some IBS flare-ups, and with that came the migraine flare-ups too. But so far in November, I've had 10 days, which is still a huge improvement. And so feeling, you know, so I'm about 3 months in now. I've been taking it for 3 months. And so definitely feeling more energy, feeling less pull to the sugary foods, like there's just more ability to make better choices. And some of that too is just having the energy to actually cook a meal for my family. Yeah. Whereas before, like, hey, I have a teenager, you know how to cook craft dinner, have at her, I'm in bed. Like I cannot function. And yeah, I work 2 jobs and 3 kids, and my husband's a pastor, and life just goes. And I remember being, you know, at funerals and different things where we're having to do stuff, and I'm just having to power through a migraine and kind of going, I can't keep living like this. So when you talk about it dominating your life, like, yeah, totally been there. So really thankful to be kind of at a place where, you know, there's a lot less days. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that you have stats. That is so
good.
I
brought my migraine sheets to kind of show. So like this is from the neurologist. These are some detailed sheets that I've been keeping track of things. So I had to organize on my folder of all my medical stuff. So yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah, I have the medical lists of all the medication I tried over the years, and it's lengthy. But I'm kind of jealous I didn't chart things so I could have that proof. I love that. Yeah, I can tell like when each of us are talking, there's a lot of nodding and like, oh yeah, I remember that. Yep, trypsin. Yeah, of course. Oh, the aura. Yeah, yeah. Like it's just this, I feel like migraines are kind of its own separate world. And I have friends who've never had a headache, you guys. It's mind-boggling to me. But that's the hand we were dealt, and we now have the tools to help it along. So with that, I want to ask you guys what products you started on, because I think that's something I get asked first, like outright every time. They want to know, what did we start with? So Laura, maybe we'll let you go first again.
Sure. Well, when I came to Plexus, I was extremely ill in a lot of areas, and I have a gene that I didn't even really talk about yet that is called the MTHFR gene, and I don't tolerate B vitamins. As much as I needed them, I couldn't tolerate them. And that at the time when we started, the triplex would be what most of us would have started on. And it had I think it's B6. And I'm like, I can't take that. I can't even take the X Factor Plus because my gut was so a mess that I basically started on just the Slim alone for the first 3 months because I was that sick. And then as my gut started to heal, Janelle was telling me, you need to try the ProBio and the Bio Cleanse and all of that. So it took me the first 3 months, I was only on the Slim. And then I gradually started to add in just one ProBio. And then I would do it one every couple of days because I would still get maybe, you know, I actually noticed that after the 3 months, I started testing myself with X Factor Plus more so than the ProBio. So I started on the ProBio and was slow at that because I knew I had a lot of healing to do. Ease was one that I started on that was phenomenal for just overall inflammation. And Vital Biome came out. I was on that because of my moods, anxiety, IBS, all of that. But with the X Factor Plus, which is really cool, is that I I would normally react to like eggs, anything that had B vitamins in it, certain cereals, all of that stuff would have been a trigger for me for migraines. So you can understand my reluctance of trying anything that had bees in it, because within half an hour, I would have been down for the count for about a day or two. And so I tried one, and then I was like, nope, I still have, I felt like I had a headache coming. So it took me almost, I think, 6 months of slowly introducing X Factor Plus into my body. And I remember it took the 6-month mark of that. And I was like, I just took 2 and I have nothing. And I thought it was a fluke. So I did it the next day, nothing. And the third day. And then I finally told my sponsor and I was like, I can't believe this. And I haven't looked back since. I don't know if it's just the whole formulation with I've understood so much about being with Plexus that methylated vitamins, for example, are huge. Blood sugar balance. I didn't know. No doctor told me that all of my highs and lows with blood sugar, just the slim alone helps balance you to the point where for me, that was a huge product that really I cannot live without. Ease is another one that I absolutely love. But yeah, it took me, healing some of those bigger issues with foods and mood. That was not 3 months. But my migraines, I was lucky. I don't know, compared to you guys, I have experienced very little headaches unless I get sick, which is rare. But the other day, for example, this is how much I've healed. I said to my husband, I was starting to get what I felt like was a migraine, and I couldn't figure out why. And then I realized I hadn't been to the chiropractor in months since this whole COVID hit. And I had gone to the chiropractor and it immediately left. So now I'm much more in tune with my body to go, something is out if I am starting to feel something coming on. So that was a reminder to me. I said to Jeff, I was scared because I'm like, I don't want to go back. And I wasn't. It was just, I had to really, so that is one of the things that I do to manage it, but I haven't been as much, right, with what we've been going through. So Slim is Ease, one of my favorites, but I mean, the Triplex is amazing for healing, but I was just very slow in starting the Triplex because of where I was at. So.
Oh, that's interesting. And I was very different. I didn't have quite the same support starting. So I started as per the bottle direction. And it was heavy and hard, and I detoxed big, big, which for us is a migraine, right? A detox for us.
I was very lucky. I had very little detox because I guess I was so sick. If I had gone hard and heavy, I think I probably would have quit because that's just me. Right. I didn't want to feel worse. And so I just went very, very slow because I was scared. And now I realize I didn't have anything to be scared about. But yes, listening to your body is huge, right?
Yeah. And that is so key to learn. So you guys know, whoever is watching, you guys know the Slim. Can you even see that? No. And then the probiotic and the BioCleanse. This is your triplex. And that's what I started with too, was the triplex and Ease, which has got to be my absolute favorite product that we have, because inflammation, having a headache every day says you have tension, right? So that was key for me. And I think because I started just as heavy with that as everything else, I just kind of detoxed real hard out the gate and then just kept going. So it's okay. I'm still here. I'm still standing. But I really appreciate the slower start and the walking with, because I no longer deal with insomnia, fibromyalgia. I'm off my thyroid meds. I had plantar fasciitis when I started. I never knew that was connected to gut health. There's been so many things, but I thought I only had migraines, you guys. That's all I was sick with. Crazy.
I said that to somebody else that she's just starting, and I said to her, you're gonna not even believe how much things change for you that you didn't even think were connected. I had the same. I had plantar fasciitis, insomnia, there's just so many things. And it's like, wow, that's
Yeah.
affected by that. I will tell you, my mom can smell for the first time in her life. That is the power of gut health.
It's
So
crazy. Yeah.
it's, you never know what your body is going to do. We're so uniquely created.
Isn't that the truth? And
Yeah.
Leanne, you would have started. If anyone knows this, I should. How did you
You know
start,
what I
Leanne?
said? So I was advised by the person who helped me, which is Carrie, to start slow. And so I started with the triplex and with ease. And I started with 2 E's a day. So anyhow, I don't know if I really, that's slow or normal. I'm not sure. And so I actually just got X Factor and Active. So I'm excited to try those. Haven't tried them yet, but excited to. Yeah, and the things that I've noticed first is like I also had achy joints in there too, and so now walking up and down the stairs is just I feel younger, which is lovely. I like that. It's not quite as painful or slow and unsteady as it was, and I think I've definitely had some ups and downs, and definitely if I'm going to react in some way, it's definitely with the IBS, and so I've had to take some things slow that way. So I take 2 ProBio CA a day and 2 Bio Cleanse, which is great because it has magnesium. And I could not take that. That was one of the ones the neurologist recommended, and I couldn't take it that way. And in this combination, I'm able to tolerate 2 a day. So I'm very happy about that. So yeah.
Huh.
That's
Very
so
cool.
interesting. Yes, because magnesium is one thing they often tell us to take for migraines.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's something
Yeah.
that your gut was the same as mine with just bees. So that's
Mhm.
interesting. I love
Yeah.
hearing
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah,
And
because
now,
like I couldn't eat any of the dark greens before. So like kale, like everybody's like, ooh, the health benefits of kale. I'm like, oh, no. Spinach was iffy. So yeah, like trying to get in some of those things naturally, I couldn't even do that. And so it was with the IBS, it would just didn't last in my system. So
oh, so interesting. I find now, just jumping ahead to how I would deal with a migraine now, one of the hacks, I guess I would say, for me to get through a migraine, whether I'm like getting sick or a new layer of detox or whatever it is going on, or the weather changes, let's face it, our heads are connected to that somehow. But something I use is actually the active. You can't see that either. It's too bright. Active, 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 active. It is so great. And I'm learning more about it as a vasodilator. And so when I feel like I actually drink half a stick in my Slim every morning, and if I'm feeling like I have a headache coming on or something weird is going on in my body, I'll just have the other half plain. And in lieu of what I used to do for Tylenol or Advil or whatever. And whatever the magic is, it works wonders. So that's my hack for how I'm dealing with headaches now is active and ease if I need something above and beyond what I'm doing. Do you guys have any tips for anybody that way?
For me, it would be ease for sure. I would do, if I was really starting to have a lot of pain, I would do even 6 to 9 a day temporarily to kind of ward something off. I haven't actually tried active, which I mean, I have, but not for a migraine. But Slim for me is just something that is part of my preventative. I don't know why. It just, the blood sugar balance maybe was such a huge trigger for me that, but ease is so good. I just never want to run out because it's, everybody fights over it here because it's so good for you and it's natural. So yeah, that's my hack.
Absolutely. And Leanne, I guess you're still feeling things out, right? So
yeah, I have taken some extra ease. And I do still rely on an old thing that I've always done is because smell is not a trigger for me. And so I've always put peppermint oil on my forehead. So it's nice, cooling, feels great, smell like a candy cane.
yeah.
And so, yeah, I've taken some extra E's, always making sure you're great, Carrie, at making sure I knew that about drinking your water. So I'm always making sure I'm drinking that. And then I'm excited to try the active. That's why I got it, to try and see if that would kind of give me the extra kick to get through the day and not progress into a migraine. So.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that is so key, the water. If let's say we go on a road trip and I don't drink, because then I get in trouble because I have to pee too much. So I don't get my water in, I will get a headache. And like, just flushing that out is so key for everybody. But I think for migraine people, extra key.
Even just going on like airplanes that used to, well, I can't travel now, but that used to be a trigger for me. And when I first went on my first flight, because the barometric pressure and everything going through the mountains, I live in BC, so we are going through the mountains, that was a change for me. And it's just so nice that I don't have to worry about that. But I do have to pee a lot. So I have to have my water, because I just know I feel better. And it's funny, people walk by this gentleman one day and he's like, how many times are you going to go to the bathroom on this flight? I'm like, mind your own business. I'm trying to prevent a migraine here. No.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So, but yeah, water is so key. So yeah.
Yeah, so key. Well, I don't know if we have much more to share, but I guess we can leave it at that. And thank you for those who put in time to listen and watch. And if you have questions, talk to the person who is sharing Plexus with you, and they likely know us and can get the answers for you if we missed anything that you really wish you had known. So thanks for joining us, and goodbye.